we got married, Patty said, well, we've got to go over to Harriman and you have to have instructions. And I said, well, what are instructions? And she said, I don't really know, which is typical of a lot of Catholics. They don't know of a lot of things that the church does. They don't know what they are. But anyway, we went over there, and Father Hinkle, who, was the priest here at Holy Ghost, he was the priest there at Harriman then. Old German, stern German. And so we came in this little room, and we were sitting there, and hell, I didn't know what was going on. So Father come in, and he said, okay, Patty, outside. So she got up and left, and just me and Father Hinkle sitting there, and he sat there and he looked at me, old stern German face, He said, well, I guess you've heard the priest gets to spend the first night with your wife. I thought, hell fire, what am I getting into? I thought, if there's a window in this room, I'd jumped out of it, I'd been gone. And so he laughed. He said, I figured an old country boy from down in Smith County, Protestant, had heard them Catholic jokes about the nuns and the priests and all that kind of stuff. He said, Tommy, that's just a joke, that's all it is. And he said, what we're going to talk about here is what's true and what's not and what we believe in and everything. He said, it's not any different than what you believe in. It says, we'll just talk a little bit and that'll be it. So he was great. Father Hinkle was a great guy. He really was. So then before we had to, have our blood test and everything, went to Dr. Wilson at night one night. So Dr. Wilson went in and he said, well, I need to take some blood tests, And so I said, hey, you go ahead first, so, you won't have to watch me. So he stuck that needle in Patty and started drawing that blood out. Well, hell, I fainted. I couldn't believe it. What a big old stout man she was marrying. So I was sitting there in a chair, passed out, So then they got me revived, and then they took my blood, got me out and walked me around a little bit out in the parking lot so I'd get my head clear. So that's how that got started. So, and for some reason, which I never knew, I didn't question it one way or the other, Patty decided to get married on Wednesday, which was a crazy day. I mean, it was hard for everybody to get off work and everything else to get there, but everybody showed up, The night before we had a rehearsal or what it was, and everybody got together. And so next morning, my best men and my ushers and everything, the wedding was at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I guess Larry and Jimmy and all of them that I had as my guys there, they didn't get there until 1 minute till 10. I mean, it was just time for the wedding, and then they come. They had been partying all night. And so we had the wedding, and everybody wished us a happy honeymoon, and away we went. I think I had $250 in my pocket, and we were going to New York, Paramus. We were going up and staying with Mother. I didn't have any money to stay anywhere else. So we took off, and we got up to Bristol. And when we got to Bristol in this motel, I told Patty, I said, then just act calm. We don't want to act like we just got married, We want to play cool. So it's not embarrassing, we'll just. And the guy come up and he said, what do you need? And I said, well, we just need a room for the night. He said, okay, follow me. Well, hell, he took off running up through the parking lot just as fast as he could run. Like we couldn't wait to get that room, So I always laughed about that. So we spend our honeymoon there, and we get up the next morning and we head out and we drive up into Virginia, and we spend another night in Virginia, and then we get on up and get to Paramus. And so we stay there with Mother and Jack Boy. And we went into New York. We went to the Empire State Building, and we went to the Statue of Liberty. And when in the Statue of Liberty, it was always funny because the steps in the Statue of Liberty are only about that wide. In my big size 14 shoe, we walked up to up to her head up there, the Statue of Liberty head, and walk up on your toes, And then when I walked down, you walk down on your heels. And man, when I got down, my legs were cramping so bad I couldn't stand it. And they just kept on cramping, so everybody back at the house was teasing me. He said, "Well, that's what happens on your honeymoon. Your legs really do cramp like that." So anyway, that was so then we headed back to Sullivan's Bend. But I didn't have 50 cents when I got back. We spent every penny of that $250.